So, Petey, what's on the list? I need a new video.
My belly is full of the souls of your fellow mortals, Dovahkiin.
Wait, what do you mean I promised an art review a long time ago?
I have feasted on many greater than you. You will pay for your defiance.
Did I really promise that? Well, I guess I better get started on that. Thanks, Petey.
Zu Anslad! Zu Nisobla!
Alright, time to do a video that I held back on for far too long. By no means am I a professional critic, but I thought it would be fun to do. Obviously, this video might not be too entertaining, but if you want to stick around, I'd appreciate it. So let's get started with the first one. Here we have this lovely piece from someone on Instagram. First thing I notice is this shiny looking effect that's on the character's hair and body. Now, I'm not too sure, but I believe that there's some type of shading going on here, though I cannot see where it's from due to the shading being inconsistent. There is no proper light source. I can't really judge the placement of the shiny effect, but moving on from the lighting, I kind of want to touch on these little marks that are on the elbows. Perhaps it's just a nitpick, but I see these type of marks more on skin than on fur, and it makes sense. As for the anatomy of the dog, it's not perfect, but, you can tell it's a dog. Biggest advice, practice your shading, mark a light source. That's really it. Moving on to the next artist. Two more pieces from another person on Instagram. Of course, the first thing I notice are the weird hands. I'm not saying they're completely wrong. You seem to understand the basics of how a hand works. The issue is, they're just not drawn well. I understand how hard hands are, but believe me, when I say the more you practice, the better you'll become. Now, I could go on about the anatomy in general, but I think another important part of this is the face. Now, I don't know if you know how to do this thing, where you draw the head and then you make a cross to know where the placement of the eyes will go, but if you don't, I suggest you do. Like I said, it helps with the face and it keeps it from looking like the eye is sliding away. All in all, practice your anatomy, mainly hands, also work on your shading, it's a bit inconsistent. Next artist. Next two pieces come from someone on Twitter. This person I've actually been following for a while. First order of business. Actually, I don't have much to say. From what I see, this is pretty good. The anatomy is accurate, lighting is consistent, colors are pleasing. There's not much that I can point out and say that it's wrong. Of course, that's just as a whole. As for picking out certain things, let us focus on this image right here. Two things I noticed is this weird hand right here. Maybe it's just me, but it looks broken, mainly where the knuckles should be placed. Another issue is her body. Something about it looks smushed. I don't know how to explain it very well, but do you remember those old torture methods where they would used to stretch people out on a table? Yeah, just take that, but the other way around. She would look much better if she had more space on her torso. So, Cherry T Bomb. I love your work. Overall, your stuff is great. But just keep an eye out for those blasted mistakes. Now, these are actually from a friend that I made on Amino. There is something that I really want to touch on. You can see it in the first image, is that there's this big unbalance of proportions. Yes, I do understand that big heads, small bodies is a stylistic choice, but in this case, I decided to bring it up because it feels like it lacks balance. Sometimes hands are drawn weird or backwards, necks are a bit too thin for my liking, but I suppose it fits the style. Also, I personally like how you add detail to clothing. Shading is good, however, and practice makes perfect. That's really all I have. Next, another Instagram person. I'm guessing that if you're in the Cuphead fandom at all, you've probably heard of her. Now, let's see what I can say that would make her dislike me. Something I noticed very often is that there's no shading. Not that that itself is a problem, but from what I've seen, shading is a hit or miss. Like in these two examples, the medic's shading looks great, but I do see issues in the other one's shading, mainly in the faces. I was going to say something about how you should stop drawing so much Cuphead stuff and start expanding on your art, but as a while back, I noticed that she was doing just that. I hope you find just as much success with those other things, but besides that, I really like your things, your art. Just keep at it. Alright, let's see. Who is our final artist? Oh, Emily. You have arrived, and you brought your degeneracy with you. Okay, so you want to be reviewed. Let's see what other thing you've drawn recently. Okay, all these people are lovely and deserve praise. Favorite of the bunch that I'm showing off is definitely the one made by Craig Gay. But they're all amazing. That'll be all from me. Reminder that Emily is the worst, and I'll see you next time.